Today we'll have two sections. One, we've added some new features to the text marketing tool, which I'll be going over. And then we did launch a new service here at StayFi called Managed Email, where for $200 a month, StayFi will do all of your email marketing for you. And obviously you'll get your input, but we wanted to try to launch the most affordably priced managed email service out there so that if you feel like you don't have time, can't find the right person, don't feel like you are confident in your email marketing, you can now hire us and we will take all of that over for you. And so that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about. And then I'll talk about SMS and all of the new features in our tool there. So just a little overview of what's included in our new managed email marketing service. It's going to be first start with onboarding. So you're going to meet with our specialist Autumn and another individual who will help create all of your campaigns. The first thing they do is they will make sure all of your automations are set up correctly in StayFi. So as you guys know, we have Wi-Fi Welcome, post day, StayFi anniversary or stay anniversary that will be triggered. And the nice thing is that in addition to those first emails, they will make these automations, especially the post-day one, longer, so that not only will your automation be set up, it will be a multi-step automation as well. And then on top of that, as a user of the service, they will send two monthly campaigns on your behalf, and I'll show you how that works. But essentially, you'll have the ability to provide feedback. You'll have also kind of help craft the strategy in your onboarding meeting, and there'll be quarterly meetings with your email specialist as well. So we will continually, get your input and craft emails based on whatever particular properties, destinations, things you would like to feature in your destination. So kind of how this works is you will build with our expert a content calendar that looks like this. So this is an example from one of our customers. So it's really based on, what you feel like needs to be emphasized in your destination. So if you, for instance, like this particular customer, have times of years that are pretty high occupancy, and then you have shoulder seasons, I believe this is in Wyoming, where there are less travel. You can see here in August, we're talking about skiing. Um, for June, for instance, there's like a light push for August, early September if needed. So it's kind of like, how can we drive bookings for late summer? Because we know that's like a little bit of a, things start falling off at that point. So essentially, we'll work with you to figure out what the strategy is in terms of times of year, things that you want to emphasize in your marketing, what local destinations are. So you'll have a calendar like this, which of course you can provide feedback on an ongoing basis if you need to change it. And then these are some of the example emails that we send on your behalf, and you'll have a chance to review every email that we send. But kind of the way this works is when you join, you kind of agree with us that we're going to create the email, you'll have time to review it. But if you don't get back to us, we're just going to send it anyways. Because the idea is we want to make sure you're consistently sending emails no matter what. And obviously, everything we're going to send is high quality and it's going to be based on what you've inputted at the beginning of the process. But of course, you can always edit these or ask for any changes before we send them. And this way, we're building interest in your destination. We're featuring listings. We're showing here ways to plan your adventure, and we're, for instance, linking to blog posts on your site. And on the right here, you can see we always are featuring your team, really creating that personal connection with guests so they understand the value of booking directly with you versus going through Airbnb or another OTA. And so for this, we have prices basically at the most affordable price that we can to make it accessible. So this is definitely less expensive than any other email marketing agency out there in the space. And that's just because we want to make sure that everybody, as many people as possible that use StayFi, have the ability to send high quality emails on a regular basis. And of course, in StayFi, if this doesn't work for you, we have all of the pre-built templates and automations as well. So we want to make DIY email as inexpensive as possible. But then if you do want to have a managed service where we operate on your behalf, this is what that costs. And if you are interested, you can scan this QR code. We also will include this link when we send out the email after this session, where you'll fill out a form and then we'll get back to you. Right now we have a bit of a waiting list, because we have to onboard people one at a time or a few people a week. But if you fill out that form, the other thing is we kind of make sure you're the right fit for the program. So we're only going to do this for people that we think that this service is going to have great ROI for. So then you'll get some information in that, and we'll reach out to you if you're a good fit for this, and we will, try to get you onboarded in the next month so you can get started with this service. Um, okay, now kind of switching over to SMS within StayFi. So a little bit of a shift from email. So SMS is one of the least used marketing tools within StayFi, but it has also some of the best ROI for those customers that do use it. And the reason is you can use SMS for a variety of ways. But why SMS is so powerful is that it has the highest open and click-through rates of any type of marketing that you can offer as a business. And we have these Wi-Fi welcome, rate and review, and group messages, which I'll show you actually in the StayFi app how to send those in a second. To get started with text marketing, you need to start collecting phone numbers. So if you go to the text marketing section within StayFi, you'll see there is this collect phone number section. You can turn this on, and you can turn this on before you ever send a text message. This will just help you start collecting phone numbers as well as opt-in. So when you turn this on, essentially what will happen is we will automatically add to all of your splash pages, which you can see here, the phone number field. We also can text other countries. So if someone has a non-US code, they'll be able to add those as well. And then down here, we have a second opt-in box for just text marketing. That's a legal requirement. So text marketing always needs to be like a standalone opt-in for guests. So they have the second opt-in here for text marketing. That's how you get started. And then within here, we have different types of campaigns, which I'll go over in a second. But Wi-Fi Welcome is what I recommend you set up first, then rate and review, and then we can send group text, which I'll show you in a second. The other step here is once you get started, we do charge for SMS separately because every time we send a message on your behalf, there's a cost associated with that. So we basically bill you for credits, and based on how many credits you buy, there'll be different prices. When you go to buy credits, we will basically ask you to register for a toll-free number. A toll-free number is how we send marketing SMS on your behalf. So all of your messages will come from a toll-free number. It can take 2 weeks or more to get a toll-free number issued to your business. It just takes a while because it's unfortunately not a process we can control. So if you are interested in text marketing, I would just recommend applying for this because it's going to take some time to get started. And then once you apply for it, in the meantime, you can actually go ahead and set up these other messages, which I'll show you in a second. The other thing that you do when you set up a toll-free number is you need to also provide us an autoresponder. So StayFi is not trying to be a place where you are communicating with guests from like a customer service standpoint. So our text messaging is intentionally meant to only be one-way promotional text, which means that if somebody texts you back, we basically have this message that you can send to them. You can decide what that is. And that way, if they do have a question or want to contact you, you can reply with the best way to do that. So in here, if I go under settings on the right here, this is where you can see your autoresponder message if you want to edit it, if you already have it. And you also set a from name, which appears at the beginning of the message here. That's also like kind of like a legal requirement for StayFi tech, for any text marketing, is you have to identify who you are as a sender in the message. And that's also helpful so people know where you're sending it. And then when you do business verification, like this is the type of information that you'll provide that would then register you with the mobile carriers for a toll-free number. So you just need like an address, and then you do need a website. So that is one other thing that is kind of required is if you don't have a website, we can't really register you. So just make sure you have a website for your business of any kind to make sure you get approved. Sometimes some small percentage of these are denied. Then our support team will reach out to you to get the right information, and then we will help you resubmit this so you get approved for a toll-free number. First, I'll talk about group texting because this is where we have some new features. Group text or basically to all of your subscribers. And now we have filters as well. So things like this would be like a return offer, and I'll show you actual real case studies later. Special events, experiences, holidays, essentially your most high value things that you would think about sending in an email message, you can also send here. And I always love when it comes to return offers, things like last minute cancellations or availability. So as you may know, we have this very cool availability feature in email marketing where you can search your calendar for open dates and then email about those open dates. I would also consider maybe advertising those same openings through text marketing. Like if you have a last minute cancellation or you have a last minute opening this weekend or there's some event in your destination, you only have two homes left. This way you can kind of let people know like, hey, you are in our special audience of return guests, and we want to make sure you know about this availability. The things that we added that people were asking for are these new filters. So before you could only text your entire list. Now you can filter down that list to be more specific. So your messages can be more catered to that audience. So I'll show you how that works here. Now, when you go to send a group text, you can pose the message up here. Um, so you can have a campaign name, and then down here you can say like, hi, first name. So I definitely recommend you use these dynamic fields. First name, get last minute cancellation at XYZ, get 10% off with code whatever. And then the other great thing is like you can put in the link here. And then if you make sure this is basically checked down here, what happens is we will take stayfi.com or obviously whatever link you put here, and we will turn it into this short code. And this short code will allow us to track how many people click this link. And that way you can, essentially know how many people are clicking on your text marketing. But if you don't click this, if you don't have this on, we won't be able to track the number of clicks. But now down below, we have these new filters. So you can filter by now specific property. So we have both property groups. All of mine here are the same property group. Um, so we have like these four different properties, or you can even do multiple properties. We also have booking sources. So I know you can have a lot of sources in your PMS, so this can be like a very expansive list. You can see a ton of them here. I don't know, but for whatever reason you only want to message people that booked through Airbnb originally, like you can do that, or booking, etc. And then down below, you can also do sign-in dates. This is when they were opted into your text marketing. So like when they were in the property. So let's say you're like July 4th, you have an opening at the Cozy Tree Oasis, and you just want to text the people that stayed there last July 4th, or in July, or in the summer, and like, come back for July 4th. You can make this as like specific or narrow or as broad as you want. And the nice thing about this is because you do pay per text message, you'll see down below how many credits in this text. I know that was a limiting factor before, as everyone was like, I don't want to spend $20 on this text message to 20,000 people. I just want to target these 2,000 people and spend less money. This way you can target the specific audience you want for whatever text you want to send and get much more narrowed down with that. And we'll show you that. And then you can see all your contacts here. So you can see all your contacts in this other page here. And those are just the people that have opted into text marketing. So it's kind of it's a smaller subset of the guest list on the left here, just those people that are here for text marketing. Next, I'll talk about the two automated texts because these are definitely the ones I recommend you set up first. I 100% recommend you set up Wi-Fi Welcome because when someone opts into text, like you need to send them a text or else it's likely they will forget about it. And then when you want to send them a group text, it won't be as effective. So definitely turn on Wi-Fi Welcome. We kind of pre-write this with this message, welcome first name. And then what we do is we link to your homepage. And so as you guys are probably aware, when you design your guest experience, you design these home pages for each of your properties, which have all the essential links for the stay, including upsells, which you can set up all through the homepage template builder. So as you remember, you can like decide what you want on your home pages here. We have a lot of videos on home pages, but just quickly, you can decide what you want on your home page, including if you want to use like Viator, the host co, you can make custom buttons for other upsells, etc. You decide all the potential links you want to use. And then on the bulk editor, you decide, or you can input what exactly those links are or PDFs are for each of the properties. You can preview them all here. And then if you don't include details for one of these sections, the button just doesn't appear for that property. So the homepage is really valuable. But the thing is, when guests log into the Wi-Fi, they see the homepage. It may not be easy to get them back to the homepage, which is why the text marketing with the link is so powerful, because essentially, right when they log into the Wi-Fi, they're going to get a link to that homepage with all the upsells, property guides, any information you want, right basically at the beginning of the stay. So all of these links below are dynamic based on the property and the guest. So this homepage one, which is kind of like our recommended one, that will link them to that homepage. Of course, you can have other links here as well. So you can link to, if you just want to go directly to the guidebook that you feature in the homepage, you can do that. You can go to the direct booking link for that property. You can link to the Viator shop or the hostco URL. So all those links in the homepage, if you do want to go like kind of one level deeper and go directly to that piece, you can as well. Although I totally recommend homepage, and that's the one we kind of pre-built in here in the welcome message. And then that's on, and it will start sending automatically. And then the next one is rate and review. Rate and review, the purpose of this text message is to get you more 5-star reviews. Specifically, I would say like the most common one is on Google. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. But what we do is we basically screen for reviews. And I'm going to show you this example here on the right. But basically, we ask guests first how they enjoyed their stay. And if they rate you 5 stars, then we show them this page on the right with the relevant links. Google by far is the most popular one. And then if they give you less than 5 stars, we give them a private forum to give feedback. So that's what this kind of whole flow looks like. And then in the dashboard, you can actually see all the reviews as well as what people clicked. And then if they gave you less than 5 stars, what their feedback was. So I'll show you how to set it up first, and then I'll just talk about why Google reviews are important for your business. So if you go in here to rate and review, again, we kind of like have this all pre-set up for you, but of course you can edit it. So first you can decide how soon after they join the Wi-Fi do you want to send the message. Obviously setting them at day 0, they've had no experience yet, probably doesn't make sense. Some people do it shorter, like 1 or 2 days, because then if your length of stay on average is longer than that, if you get a negative comment here and you go see it in StayFi, maybe you can address that before they leave. So you can either kind of time this to be usually during the stay, or you can be, after the stay, depending on what makes sense to you. And then of course you can insert dynamic content into this. You don't see it here, but we automatically add the relevant link at the end of it. So you can see in the preview, the link is here. It doesn't show up here on the left, but that link will always be added here. So don't worry about that. Then we show you the first page the guest will see. This will change based on the property, just like the background image. So you can preview what they all look like here, but we'll ask you, again, you can change this message, but obviously the 5-star rating system, how it works. So don't ask them to rate you out of a different number of things if you want to edit this. By default, we say we only show them the review links if it's 5. I would keep it like that. So if it's less than 5, that's when they have to give feedback if they want to. Then after that, they get to this page with the links. We can support other links. So we can support Facebook, Google, TripAdvisor, and then even your own website if you collect reviews there. By far, the most popular one is just Google. And you do need to have a Google business page, so I'll explain in a second, which you should totally have for your business anyways. But here we give you the instructions here to how to get this link that you need. So you can click here and we'll show you how to do that. This is what guests see if they don't give you 5 stars. So if they don't give you 5 stars, then they can leave private feedback here. And then you hit update and you'll be good to go here. The ratings and review section, not surprising. This is where you see all the ratings. You can also export it as a CSV. We added that sometime in the recent past. And then here you can see like what people clicked. Most people are just doing Google. And then you can also read the negative comments in terms of also when they signed in, as well as the review date. So if you do want to collect feedback relatively shortly into the stay and you're trying to catch negative things, and obviously we don't have like an automated way to inform you if you get a bad review right now, sadly, but someone will have to go and check this and you can go see what the reviews are, as well as how many people are clicking out. Now, why Google reviews are really good? Well, number one reason is anytime anyone Googles your brand, they're going to see your My Business Google page here, and they're going to see your Google reviews. Also, in certain cases, depending on the search, sometimes Google will also inject the reviews like under your brand name. I'm sure you've seen that too. So they might see it there as well. Also, Google businesses that have more reviews, they also perform better in search for those branded search terms or in search in general. So we know that businesses that have more robust frequent Google reviews, when people are searching in this case for like Gatlinburg cabins, that also helps cabins for you SEO. So having more Google reviews just makes your business look more real and viable to Google, and they will favor your business more in like all search applications that you can imagine. If you don't have a Google business page, just search like create a business page on Google. You'll find the way to set up your business profile, and you will have to verify that you own the business. But after that process, you'll be able to control this page, which obviously then you can add all these other things that Google lets you do, like website directions, phone numbers, open hours, all those things. And that's also where you will get the link to some people get reviews. Um, and so you'll get more 5-star reviews there. And you can see this is a customer that has been using our review feature for a long time. And you can see like when you search Stay Duvet, going to leave a very strong brand impression. Like, wow, they have almost 1,700 5-star Google reviews, essentially, right? So you kind of want that to be leading here as well. And then even if you look up, let's see, if you look up Charleston vacation rentals, we will see Stay VA here as number 3. So, they're ranking in the top few vacation rental companies in this area, way higher than OTAs. Like Vrbo's down here. I don't even see Airbnb here on Google. And definitely one reason they can rank this high is those Google reviews. So it helps in all ways for your business. And even the non-branded search terms, it will play a role in deciding where you rank as well. So if you're not collecting Google reviews, I would definitely recommend starting. And if you don't have a Google business page, definitely set one up, because when people search your brand and you don't have this thing on the right side with all the information, again, it's not going to establish the same level of trust in your business. And branded search is how a lot of people are going to find you. Even if they get your emails and they remember your name, they're going to go to Google and put in your brand name, and just want to make sure you have that positive first page impression. People are doing that. Yep. So if you want to get started, just a little overview again, turn on collect phone numbers, go manage billing and credit, or try to set up your first Wi-Fi welcome. When you go set up your first message, like when you turn on Wi-Fi welcome to set it up, it will lead you through the steps to register your business for a toll-free number, to add credits, and then create your message. And then we'll let you know when your number is approved, and then it will basically start sending at that point. And then you can set up rate and review, and then you can use group text when you're ready to. Under manage billing, this is where you can add credits. Basically, you can decide to do this 2 ways. One, you can just buy a lump sum of credits. And obviously, the more credits you buy here, the cheaper they are per credit. So just keep that in mind. And then you can also turn on auto refill. So it basically at 25 credits, you can then refill based on like whatever value you want to refill. And when you buy more credits, they're cheaper. But if you want to just buy credits one off, you can do that up here. And then on the left here, you can see the pricing for sending. So for most people, the only really relevant numbers are US and Canadian numbers that use StayFi. For sending to those numbers, it costs 1 credit. It is more expensive to send text messages to other countries' phone numbers, which is why they cost more credits. So if you do have guests from any of these countries, UK, Mexico, those are definitely the more common ones we see, China, South Korea, etc. Those are 2 credits each. And then for any other phone number from any other country, it costs 3 credits. Most of you are going to have mostly US guests. So there's a pretty much close 1-to-1 ratio between sending and credits, although you'll see these other countries are more expensive. And when you go and send a group message, it may show you like 550 people will get this and it costs 570 credits. And the reason the number is a little more is you have like a few Canadian or UK folks sprinkled into that sending group that you're sending to. Now we'll talk about measuring results. So when you go to the results tab here, sadly, this is not a real account, so there's like not really great data in here, but I'll show you examples from real customers. You'll see the number of messages sent, for instance, in these campaigns, as well as delivered, clicked, and unsubscribed, and you'll see all the campaigns below that as well. So a real one would look like this. First name, you recently stayed at a Vegas property. So you can see here, listing URL. Please text us, blah, 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 when you need to book again. They're not, they have this listing URL. We'll put in the link to the property the guest the last stayed in, which is nice. And then they also have this contact, and you can see here how many people click and unsubscribe. Because this has a CTA to do something else, that's probably why the clicks are so low. Here are some real examples of texts that have been successful. So I'll just kind of walk you through these because I think these are all great ideas. So you can see here, one way that this user attracts direct bookings is not just on price. They give like tickets for local attractions. So like when you book directly, you get Silver Dollar City. This is in like Branson, Missouri. So that's like a big option there. Then they link here. You can see we replaced it with our StayFi short code. And then you can see it was sent to 978, delivered to 824. We can never deliver to 100% for like a variety of reasons, which is based on like each carrier and rules, and it's just basically not possible. Or the phone numbers like are not real anymore. So there's always a little bit of break between sent and delivered. Should be around like 90%-ish. But there's always a little drop off there. And then you can see links clicked and unsubscribed. Tyann, who runs Grants to Family Retreats, doing it like there's like almost no unsubscribes. So like obviously these messages are resonating. Even if people aren't clicking, they're not bothering anybody, right? They launched 2 and 3 bedroom mini homes with hot tubs. Traditionally, Branson Family Retreats was just like giant homes. So she really wanted to get the message out to her past guests that we now have these like cooler, smaller properties, which I think is pretty awesome. You can see very popular 86. So not even an offer, just a new cool property or property type was enough to get people to click. So you don't always that's a good point of like you don't always need to have it be like a free ticket or a percentage off. Just something new or interesting for your audience can drive traffic. Obviously, this one is a code for $100 off for any stay of 3+ nights. You can see here a code did worse than just a mini home, right? So you can see here offers are not the only way you need to go. Another thing she does is she gives late checkout if available to direct bookers. So again, not differentiating on price for direct booking, differentiating on offerings and services. Again, a promo code, and then here down below, testing out putting in the listing URL. So again, this listing will put in a trackable link to the property the guest stayed in before. Here's just an example, some more case studies that were really successful to larger audiences, where we have a boutique hotel that they launched with a code as well. And then down below, again, a code, repeat guest. The one nice thing about using these codes is that it's very easy for you to track in your PMS if you got bookings from this promotion. So you have to go create the code first in your PMS for your direct booking site. And then if you know if anyone uses Welcome 15, you know it's tied to this campaign. So if you want a great way to do attribution, including a code is a great way to do that if you're willing to give some extra discount to your past guests. And this is another customer, just to give you some more ideas. Here you can see they included some events. So I love this because this is an example of someone that's using events to drive traffic. Again, almost no unsubscribes, which is awesome. A little bit lower click rate than before. You can see here we got Copa America Finals, 4th of July in Miami, Miami F1, Miami Swim Week. I think the nice thing, obviously, about being in Miami is there's like, or at Basel, there's like a quadrillion events happening in Miami all the time. So if you're in a destination with a lot of events, it's just like a very easy thing where you can do that in text. as well as an email, and you'll see success there from your past guests that want to come back for these things. I know with like the World Cup in the US, that's a big one that's impacting many, many destinations. So if that's somewhere where you are and you're like hopefully pricing appropriately for that, you may want to consider like letting your audience know that they can book those directly for less before they get booked through channels. So a basic process here, I think it's pretty straightforward. So first thing, you need to start collecting phone numbers and apply for the toll-free number. That can take 2 to 6 weeks. 2 weeks, if you don't get rejected. 90+% of people not rejected. If you do get rejected, we will help you get that number after, but you do need a website. I would start with Wi-Fi Welcome, rate and review. If you don't have a Google business page, just totally separately from this, you should definitely create one so that when people Google your brand, they see that on the right side. And then I would start adding those guest like group texts, and feel free to play with the filtering if you want to make your texts more specific. But honestly, there's so many merge fields that you can be, hey guest, do you want to stay at property? Here's a link to book it again, listing URL. So it's already built in a way there, like even though you're sending one message, it can be fully customized to your audience. First name, thanks for staying at property, book again here at listing URL, right? And then you'll cover all of that. The only thing I'll add is if you are including listing, basically if you're including any of those merge fields, you want to make sure that those are correctly set up with your properties. So when you go to your property information, you will see your direct booking listing URL. You will see your guidebook URL. I know many of you went through the process of setting up Stay Finder where you added all your direct book listing URLs if you didn't have them. These things we try to fill from your PMS, but for whatever reason, certain PMS do not provide us the direct booking links or the Airbnb link, right? So definitely make sure if you're going to use property URL, guidebook URL, that you make sure each property you have that information correct. So you can see on your homepage, the homepage is where you can go edit these again. So guidebook, book again, those are those same links. We want to make sure these are all accurate because if you're going to use book again links, they need to be the correct ones here. And the other thing is for the homepage, obviously we know all your homepage URLs, so those will always be correct. But definitely if you're going to include listing URLs, make sure that you have a listing URL associated with each property, just so that that is filled in correctly. Awesome. Now I see we do have a few questions. I answered. So for the managed email marketing service, it's $200 a month. And I will just go back and go to that QR code if you are interested in scanning it to learn more. Someone asked, is SMS for StayFi only for actively booked guests, or can past guests from your database be added? So for StayFi text marketing, we only allow you to text people that have opted in through the splash page. Essentially, regulation around text marketing is so strict that we don't want anybody to text somebody that hasn't explicitly opted in for text marketing. And the thing with text messaging is like, if one person does a bad thing, then we use Twilio obviously as like our service provider for texting. Like we could get banned from Twilio if we let one person upload a list of 10,000 people that they never got opt-in from and text them. So it's really to protect everybody to being able to use the service and protect StayFi. We only let people text folks that we know that they got an opt-in from. And so that's only people collected through StayFi, which is why if you ever think about wanting to do text in the future, even if it's not now, I would recommend turning on the ability to start collecting phone numbers with opt-in so you have that option in the future. Someone asked, are we going to replace all the tools of something like Text Magic? Well, I don't know what Text Magic is, but I have an idea that it's probably like a text marketing tool. And my answer would be probably not. Because obviously this is just like one service that we provide within StayFi, as opposed to a tool that's built solely for the purpose of text marketing. Now, obviously, if this tool has Zapier integration, or you can upload lists of contacts from StayFi that have opted in, you are more than welcome to take data out of StayFi and put it into a tool like this. I will say the one thing that you're missing here are like those dynamic fields. Like I see they have dynamic fields here. It's gonna be like annoying and hard to like get those all mapped here correctly. So we do have that advantage in StayFi, like being able to use all the dynamic fields with the home page, as well as the listing URLs and the rate and review and all those things. Obviously, a tool like this is probably going to have features that we don't have and will like never have. Also, if a tool like this has like the two-way communication, which obviously is mostly done in like PMS or in like guest service tools, we don't do that at SafeFi either and don't plan on doing that. So, I'm not going to claim that our tool will be better than a full service text marketing tool, although I'm sure there's things in StayFi that won't be available in these tools either, just because it's not integrated so tightly. And someone asked, will we be sending out a recording? And the answer is yes. It usually will get published tomorrow, and then we'll send the recording out to everybody. If you are curious, I will just show you guys right now. Um, we do have a StayFi YouTube channel. And then down here under playlists, we have Marketing Mastery Series. And in here, it's going to start playing, which is annoying. But you'll see like all the ones we've ever done. Obviously, the more recent ones will be newer things in StayFi. And then also we have all of our partner webinars. So you can watch like our direct booking roundtable and all these other things. So everything's available in the StayFi YouTube channel, and this one will definitely be uploaded there tomorrow. Um, Anyone else has any other questions, feel free to ask now. Otherwise, we'll wrap up. The last thing I will say is that in 2 weeks, someone asks, are native upsells as easy to incorporate as partner upsells? And the answer is usually yes. So the one thing that can be challenging is if your native upsell tool has different links for every reservation. That's not going to be as easy because right now in the homepage, you can add a custom button under template. Then you can have links down below here to wherever you want. So this could be like ABC upsells. The problem is if your upsell tool only has dynamic reservation-based links, obviously these links cannot change every reservation, and we probably haven't integrated with whatever tool that is to provide that. However, many of them have static links that work as well, where you then enter in like a last name phone number or something that like ties that person to the reservation, so then it's relevant. So as long as there's a static link that's unique per property but doesn't change by reservation, then you can take any upsell tool you want, integrate them into the homepage, and then once you fill in those links, the button will appear based on what you named it in the template builder, which if you forget is over here. So you go down here, add custom button to whatever upsell name you want, description, add all those links. And then obviously it will be in all your home pages for those properties. And then the text is the best way to distribute that link to everybody. I will just remind you as well, if you're interested, the Wi-Fi Welcome email campaign also has the dynamic homepage link. So we're really trying to help you, whatever upsell you're doing, we want to make sure it's in the email they get when they join, in the text when they join. So that way, if they ever want to find those upsells, it's in their phone, it's in their text inbox, it's in every place they would want to go look for it, and they can reference all that information at any point during the stay. So hopefully that answers your question. The one situation where it doesn't work is if it's a different link for every reservation. But usually there's a static link option that you can use as well, where they may have to enter in some reservation information. Sweet. Thank you, Sean. That was a great question. And then obviously, if you guys have any other questions, you can always email support@stayfi.com. And with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Next, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be talking about a new line of hardware that we'll be selling at StayFi, which I'm really excited about. So definitely check that out. If you have like new properties that you want to add StayFi to, we will have some new products that will be less expensive for larger properties, especially. So we'll have like a new whole set of stuff you can buy in addition to Unify, which we of course will continue to carry. And that's kind of a new option that we'll be adding. So a whole other set of hardware options that will work in a different sets of environments, and we'll have a new way for you to identify the best hardware depending on your home. So we'll be showing that off in the next 2 weeks. So definitely attend for that because that will be an exciting session as well. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.